Welcome, welcome, everybody. It's great to have you here. My name is Calvin, and I will be your host for today's session. And yeah, I'm just super excited to talk to you about Time Doctor's latest feature. We know that it is one that is being extremely requested, highly requested, and one that everyone has been eagerly anticipating. As mentioned, my name is Calvin, and I am a client success manager here with Time Doctor, and I service mainly the EMEA region, that is Europe, Middle East, and Africa. I'm based out in South Africa, in a little town called Worcester, which is about a 1 hour's drive outside of Cape Town. Many of you on the call today might know where that is. And it's a small town. It's surrounded by mountains. It's green. The air is clean, and that's why I love it. Used to live in the used to live in a big city and in Johannesburg, and then decided to move out to the country as it would be. And like I said, I'm excited to be here today. Thank you for joining me. I have some of my colleagues that are operating in the chat, so please feel free to engage with them as well. And we can get this thing moving. Now, at our company, we're committed to providing the ultimate user experience, and we're always looking for ways to improve our product and services, and we take your feedback and suggestions seriously. And that's why we're thrilled to announce one of our most requested features, which is the paid breaks, which we do know this will make a difference in how you use our product, and how you find value with this product. But before I go any further, let's dive into some details of what you can expect from this webinar. Firstly, in the first section, I'm going to do a feature overview. So exactly what the feature is, general overview of the feature, and then what's in it for you, which is just the benefits for you and your company, and how you can use it to add value to your company. And lastly, I will speak about and show you exactly how it works, how you can set it up, and start using it appropriately. But before we dive into the agenda, we have to have some housekeeping rules, as with all webinars. Firstly, please note that everyone's mic is muted by default. And but you can use the basically the chat section to ask questions or make comments at any time during the webinar. There will also be a Q&A box just below the chat, and what you will find there is a way for you to ask questions. And then as we go through, I'll also be having some polls, and you will see that the voting box will also appear just below the chat box. So please do ask your questions, and I'll do my best to answer all of them. All right, so let's jump into section one, which is our feature overview. And like I said, paid breaks was the fourth most requested feature on our features list with customers that have got 50 seats or more. And this is specifically designed to eliminate and streamline just different ways of work processes and all of those things, and to save time. So with the new feature, users will no longer have to manually create their own breaks, which sometimes can lead to complicated work. Okay, instead they will be able to easily automate um, their processes and let our platform do the heavy lifting for them. Right. This means they can focus on other important tasks and leave the tedious work to us. Okay? By creating tasks on the dashboard, managers will be able to work more efficiently, reduce errors, and thereby you'll obviously save time and money. Now, why did we build it? Why did we build this feature? We built it in response, obviously, to customer feedback. Our team noticed that many of our customers were manually creating their own breaks using the projects and tasks feature. This was taking up a lot of their time and resources, and we knew we could help them by creating a feature that would make their work easier and more efficient, which is why we decided to do this. So, with the help of our development team and our product team, we were able to create this functionality that we believe will make a big difference for our customers. And as you can see on the screen, these are some of the potential benefits that you can experience by using the breaks feature. Firstly, improved accuracy of time tracking and reporting. So by using the paid break feature, you will be able to track your employee time more accurately, which can help with everything from payroll to processing to project management. And this increased accuracy can save time and money, as I've mentioned before, and reduce the risk of errors and disputes. It also improves it can improve employee accountability. It can help you hold your employees more accountable for their time and attendance. And this can improve productivity as well as reduce time theft. Now, with real time break tracking and reporting, managers can quickly identify and address attendance or punctuality issues. Another thing that we are confident that this paid breaks feature can do is it can support and aid in your compliance efforts. So paid breaks can help you stay compliant with labor laws and regulations. We all know that we want to do that, right? And it can provide the documentation needed to demonstrate compliance. It can easily track and report on things like overtime, breaks, and other labor requirements, helping to avoid costly penalties and fines. It will also definitely boost your productivity. So taking breaks throughout the day can actually improve productivity, despite what many people may think. Short, regular breaks allow employees to recharge and refocus their minds, leading to greater productivity and quality work. In the next slide, I'll show some facts done on research to prove some of these things. But by tracking breaks, managers can encourage the employees to take the necessary time to recharge without worrying about falling behind in their work. And lastly, it will definitely drive higher engagement, improve your overall employee engagement when employees feel like their well being is a priority. they are more likely to be engaged and motivated at work. That's definitely me. If I feel like my wellness and my well-being is being taken care of, or is at the forefront of what my company is about, I'm definitely more motivated to wake up every day and come to work. And by tracking breaks and ensuring that employees have the time they need to recharge, managers can send a clear message that they care about the employees. We all know that the mental health and well-being is so big nowadays all across the world, especially when it comes to work and in different organizations. And by making sure that you really care about your employees and bring that to the forefront, this can lead to greater employee satisfaction, job satisfaction, lower turnover, and a more positive workplace culture overall. So, as mentioned, there are some facts to back up this breaks thing. So we'll go through some of them. This has been done by some research, looking at Forbes research and how they and when they research big companies and ask the questions, and you'll see that 90% of employees state that breaks refresh them to get back to work. Right? 59% state that more breaks improve their work happiness. 85% of those employees that were asked stated that regular breaks boost their productivity, and 81% of those employees who take regular breaks want to be active in their organization. So they want to be there, they want to make sure that they're engaging and they're active in the organization. And it has been proven that even just 5-minute micro breaks throughout the day can increase energy and also the likelihood of achieving their goals throughout the day, throughout the month, throughout the quarter, and throughout the year. Now, when we launch a new feature, we always have, it goes through a testing process to make sure that it is compliant, that it works, that it's not going to crash, and there's no major bugs or anything of that sort. Usually, we start with an internal testing within Time Doctor, our own staff and users and our teammates. We all test the product. And then what we also do is we have a bunch of beta testers who are customers, sometimes some from a various range, some very big, some middle, and obviously some smaller customers who have a chance to obviously test the new feature. This is exactly what we did with paid breaks. And this next slide will just give you some information of some of the things, the benefits, and the things that they have said of how they've used it and how it's added value to their organization. Um, some of them were in the outsourcing industry, and they stated that accurate tracking of employee performance is essential, right, for evaluating their work and identifying areas for improvement. Accurate timesheets are crucial as they provide a clear record of the time each employee has spent on different tasks throughout the day. Not only did using the paid breaks feature help managers to track performance, but it was also crucial for client billing. Now, by having accurate records of the time spent on each project, um, these sort of big outsourcing firms, or even if you're a small firm, you can accurately bill your clients and avoid disputes over the amount of time worked. Um, Additionally, you can also have the freedom to configure these breaks per client or company policy as another benefit. But by configuring the breaks per client, BPO firms, if you're here and you're from a BPO or outsourcing firm, you can ensure that you are meeting your contractual obligations and providing the level of service that your clients expect. And as a BPO company, in fact, as any company, you would know that your employees are your biggest asset. And that's why it's important to ensure that they're happy, engaged, motivated. And by adding in the paid breaks feature, you can essentially offer regular breaks throughout the workday. Studies have shown, as we saw in the previous slide, that breaks can help reduce stress, improve productivity, reduce attrition rates. And by giving your employees a chance to step away from the desk, step away from work for a little bit and recharge, you'll create a more positive work environment. and also help ensure that your team stays focused and energized and engaged. Additionally, taking breaks prevents burnout, and that's a major contributor to high attrition rates in any industry, not just in the BPO industry. So those are some of the benefits that our beta testers mentioned of how they use it and how it's brought value to the organization. All right. So I'm going to take a quick stop, take a break, take a breather, and we're going to have a poll that's going to pop up on the screen. It's going to ask you a question, and the question is very simple. It's how important do you think the breaks feature is to a daily work routine? So please, you'll see just below your chat, there are some options that you can take a look at, and you can choose one. So please take a moment to vote. I'll give you some time to vote, and then we'll jump into the next section. Okay. All right. You'll see the options will also pop up on the screen shortly, and we'll be able to see them. But please make sure that you make a choice below and choose what it is. It's extremely important, somewhat important, or maybe it's not important at all to you. But I have a feeling, based on just our beta testers review and some people and clients that we've spoken to, I have a feeling I know where it's going to be leading to. But you make the choice. You're on the call as a manager, as an admin, as an owner. You make the choice. And please, as I was saying, please start using the Q&A section. Make sure you throw in some questions, and I will attempt to answer as many as I can right at the end. The next section is not too long, and then we'll take some time towards the end. Thank you. All right, we'll give you another 5 or so seconds to make your choice. Oh, and it's in. It's in. And I was right. Extremely important. 90% of you have said it's extremely important. Thank you for making that choice. And it is important because, like you say, it increases productivity. It keeps everybody happy, which means your business flourishes, and you can make greater gains. Awesome. Fantastic. Thank you for sharing. We're going to move on to section 2, which we're going to talk about how does this all work? How do you set it up? How is it going to look? How does it work? So I'm going to take you through, how you can look at the where the feature is on the web app, as well as how you can set up these breaks, and then where you will see it in the reports and the user dashboard. Okay, so there's a couple of slides that are going to pop up on the screen, and I will talk through each one as we go. Okay, so admins can set this up by going to the settings tab on their dashboard and then clicking on breaks, which is the one that's right at the bottom. From there, you can set up any break that you would like. So you'll see there, and obviously assign it to specific individuals, to specific groups, or to everyone in the company. As you can see there with the green arrows, you can choose who should be taking those kind of breaks, right? And then when a user takes a break, you will be able to see this reflected, as you can see there, in gray in the timeline report, okay, as well as the user dashboard. Now, paid breaks are included everywhere where we show the total time tracked. Okay, so wherever you view your total time tracked, you will be able to see paid breaks. And then if you want to drill down a little bit further, you can do that by clicking on a specific user. You can drill down and you can get more detailed information on the break activity. So what type of break did they take at what time? And you'll be able to see that information next to you on the screen. From a user's perspective, from an employee's perspective, they will be able to choose a break type from their desktop app to start tracking. Okay, so you'll see there at the bottom, on that slide, you'll see at the bottom the breaks are just there. Once their break is over, they can either click stop break or play to start tracking again. Now, during this time, screenshots, web and app activity, and idle time tracking are completely suspended. All other computer activity is suspended except for the time tracking. Okay, when the user is on break, so it's giving them some privacy. So, for example, I'm working on my laptop, working on my computer, doing some work, and I need to take care of some business, maybe some banking business, some internet banking business. During that time, I can simply press break, and the break time will start tracking, and I can do what I need to do. And once I'm done, click stop break, carry on with the previous task. And that period, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is, will still be tracked as time, but none of the work that I've done, none of the screenshots or anything will be tracked. Okay, so it gives your users some privacy during their break times. Okay, but an important thing to note is before you start tracking breaks with Time Doctor and using the Time Doctor break policy, it's important to make sure that you have a break policy in place for your company and for your organization. Now, this policy should cover when it's acceptable to take breaks, the length of breaks, and all the expectations around the frequency of breaks, just so that there's no confusion to your employees about when it's okay to take a paid break or maybe even an unpaid break. Now, break policies obviously will depend on the industry for sure. Also on the compliance laws for that certain geographic area. So it's important to make these as clear as possible for your employees. Okay, so make it clear so they know when to take the break, how to take it, because sometimes it can maybe be a little bit sketchy when something new comes into play. Okay, so just something important to note. Lastly, you can see there it's speaking about future plans for breaks. So this is just merely thoughts from our product team, from our developers, on how we can make this feature more beneficial or better as we build it out. But there's just a disclaimer that I'm going to put out right here. It's a safe harbor statement. These are by no means set in stone. It is not guaranteed that this is the way that we will go. It's not guaranteed that these parts of the feature will be done. And even if they are, there's no guarantee as to when it will happen. So just a disclaimer, just a reminder for that. It's just merely plans at the moment. Some of them hopefully will be implemented sometime in the future. So the first one is unpaid breaks. I mentioned unpaid breaks a little bit in the previous slide, but what we intend and hope to possibly do in the future is track time to breaks, okay, as per normal, but that time will not count towards the total time worked for the day. And this would be for payroll purposes. For instance, for example, there may be some of you who don't offer paid breaks, but you still want your users to be able to track the time that they're on breaks. So we'll hopefully introduce new terms for total time tracked versus work time. For as an example, at the end of the day, I've worked 9.5 hours, but my break time has been an hour. So essentially, I've only worked 8.5 hours, something to that effect. The second one is break reminders. Now, I absolutely love this one, and I hope that it happens because I think it's essential. Because especially when we're working remotely, working from home, we kind of sometimes just keep working and working and working and disregard taking breaks. So break reminders that will remind users around the breaks that they can take and when it's time to take a break. Maybe for example, every 2 hours, a pop up will appear and say, hey, it's time to take a break. Or if they've been working for 4 hours straight, 4.5 hours straight, hey, it's time to take a longer break, a lunch break, or whatever it is. So something around those lines, hopefully that will be implemented soon as well. And lastly, configure rules around the breaks. Okay, so for example, like breaks at certain times, and also the length of the breaks shouldn't exceed a certain number of minutes or a certain number of hours, and being able to configure that and giving pop-ups to your users when they need to come back from their break, etc. So something along those lines. Like I said, merely just thoughts at this point in time, and hopefully some of them will come into play very soon. All right. Yeah. So we're gonna move to another poll, which you can also take the time to vote, and then straight after that we will jump into your questions, and I'll try to answer as many as you can, as I can. Sorry. So the question this time around is, how will this feature add value to your company? Okay. And some of the options are, there's four options this time. Increased productivity, more accurate time tracking, better compliance, or improved overall employee engagement. So the options will come up on the screen as well for you to see. And like I said, the voting box for your poll is just below your chat box as well. So have a look there. Give your answer, and then we'll see it pop up on the screen. And in the meantime, I'm going to have a look at some of the questions that have come through, and then I'll take some time to answer them. So I'll give you a couple of seconds just to go through that, and then we'll move forward. Oh yes, also Kevin, thank you for that. Break reminders indeed will be a great feature. I do hope that our product team puts that into place. I think it's a great feature to have. All right. All right. I think we're very close to publishing the results on the screen, which will come across shortly. I think you got another 5 or so seconds to make your choice, and then I'll jump in and take the questions. Thank you for your questions. They're coming in thick and fast. I'm looking forward to answering as many of them as I can in the time that we have. I think that's time up for the poll, and the results I think will be published shortly on the screen, and then we can see on there. All right. Oh, more accurate time tracking it is. It didn't actually come up the screen. I think we had a little bit of a technical issue with that, but the answer is more accurate time tracking. I assumed that would be, I was thinking it was either going to be between increased productivity or more accurate time tracking. So I'm glad I was sort of on the money with that. So the answer is more accurate time tracking. Okay. Thank you for that. I'm going to jump into your questions. Thank you so much for sharing the questions, and then we'll answer. I'll start with this one. Would it still be counted as idle? Okay, I'm assuming that you mean, would the break time still be counted as idle? The answer is no, it won't be counted as idle. I mentioned a little bit earlier that during the break times, okay, what will happen is there'll be no computer activity tracked. So even if I press break and I sit back and I watch a YouTube video or whatever it is, that won't be counted as idle. It will just be counted as a break time. Okay, hope that answers your question. Um, when the break time ends, does the timer begin automatically? Okay, great question. So the answer again is unfortunately a no. When the break time ends, the timer doesn't begin automatically at this moment. Maybe in the future we'll configure it that way. But what needs to happen is, when your break time ends, you have the option to press stop break. Okay, but then you would need to press play on a task, on a project and task that you want to work on. Okay, if you just press stop break, it will just stop tracking, and then the next few minutes, if you don't press start, it will basically be untracked time. There'll be no time, it'll just be blank on your timeline. The other option is, instead of clicking stop break, you can just go press play on the next project and task, and then it will start tracking the work that you're doing. Okay. um, is it possible to incorporate schedule breaks? I think I covered that. Not at this moment, but hopefully very soon you will be able to configure it so that it's scheduled and should come at a specific time. But thank you for that question as well. Um, let's jump to the next one. How can we limit the time for paid breaks? Will this function be available? All right. Svetlana, thank you. This is pretty much ties into the previous question as well. I covered it, but I think you probably put the question on before I got there. Not at this moment, but very soon, hopefully, you'll be able to do that. We'll have this function available where you can configure the breaks to be a specific length, and not anything more than that. So if you're saying I'm only allowing 45-minute break, or let's say 2-hour breaks for the entire day, so however your users break it up, you'll be able to do that hopefully very soon. Okay. Um, can this feature be used by companies with less than 50 seats? Indeed, it can. So this can be used by any company. All right. Even if you have 5 seats, if you have 10 seats, it can definitely be used. Um, so I mentioned in the beginning that it was the fourth most requested feature by companies with seats of 50 or more. It didn't mean that it was not counting those less. It was just that was the greater pool of data that we had. But definitely you can use it. It is only available though in our standard plans and above. Okay, so if you're on the basic plan, unfortunately you won't have the paid breaks feature at the moment, but anybody on the standard plan and above will have access to it. Okay, thank you, William, for your question. All right, let's see what else is there. Is there possibility? Okay, is there possibility to somehow include taken paid breaks into the tenant report as a separate column? Okay, so currently, yes. So when you because it is a paid break, okay. So you will see it, that a break has been taken, because obviously you'll be wherever you see total, like I mentioned earlier, wherever you see your total time tracked, you will be able to see that a break has been taken. Okay. So however you read it, it will show you that the break has been taken. You won't be able to set the break when you are creating your attendance report, unfortunately, in terms to say they must take 1 hour or something like that. But when you view your report, you'll be able to see that a break of an hour was taken sometime during the day. Okay, thank you. Another question. Do you have a timeline for implementation of unpaid breaks? Unfortunately, not. Um, uh, Hopefully, it comes very, very soon. That's all I can say, Svetlana. We hope it's as our product team builds things out and we see we've just launched this one, so obviously we want to see how it works and that everyone is benefiting from it. But I'm sure that that will hopefully be the next thing that will be implemented, um, as well. But for now, you can just use, if it's an unpaid break, just press stop, and that time that won't be tracked, obviously. So then you can work on overall time in terms of that. Okay. Um, Next one, for possible time limits for breaks in the future. Let me read this properly. For possible time limits for breaks in the future, would it allow for separate iterations of it? Example, requiring 2 separate breaks per day of exactly 15 minutes each. Elliot, that is a wonderful question. Thank you for that. I do believe that that is something that will hopefully be part of the feature when it comes, in terms of allowing you to configure the breaks. Okay, so the configuration will hopefully say you have 30 minutes to take a break during your course of the day, um, but you need to take them, in 15-minute intervals. For example, so 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the afternoon. I'm hoping and or I'm assuming that that might be the way it is. Like I said in the beginning, I cannot guarantee that that's exactly what it would be, but probably something along those lines when it comes to configuration. But as soon as those things are more set in stone, you will we'll obviously have some update about that, and you will be able to reach out and explain to everybody how that works. Okay, but thank you for your question, Elliot. That's great, and it's also something that we can also take into consideration when planning the next one. When planning to build this out better, is maybe having that feature built in when it comes to the configuration. Awesome. I'm trying to see if there are any other questions. I don't think so. There was one question that came through. Can this feature be used with silent apps? Okay. So uh, the answer for silent apps is no, because if you have if you're tracking silently, obviously we you don't have a button to press stop or press break. You don't have an interactive dashboard, so it can't be used with silent apps at the moment. And then the other one was, what happens if a user pauses tracking instead of selecting a break? If the user pauses tracking instead of selecting a break, um, then it's just going to be untracked time. That's all that it is. It won't fall under breaks. It will just be untracked time. So breaks have to be taken as a break for it to fall under the paid breaks feature. Okay, I think that is all that we have time for with the questions. I don't believe that there are any more questions coming through. I'm just scrolling through the chat if there are any questions. You're most welcome, Elliot, Svetlana. Thank you for your questions. And yes, I do hope that some of those features get released quite quickly. But yeah, I think that's it for the questions. If there's any other questions that come up afterwards, please reach out to us. There's an email address there, or if you have a client success manager, you can reach out to them as well. But thank you for joining me today. I hope that you found this webinar insightful, and a little bit gave you a little bit more info on this feature and how it works and how it can add value to your company. Um, and improve the time tracking, the employee engagement, and your workday visibility overall. It can also make sure that you remember that tracking breaks, I should say. Remember that tracking breaks plays an important part in helping you stay focused and effective at work. So we would love to hear your feedback on this feature once you start using it. So, like I said, if it's questions or just feedback, please reach out to your customer success manager or the support email address, which is support2@timedoctor.com. That's that one on the list on the screen. Or if you want just more info to do a little bit more reading or find out more about it, you can also visit our website, www.timedoctor.com. We normally have some blogs about the paid break feature and why it's important and how you can use it to add value. But once again, thank you for attending. I hope you have a great day ahead, and I hope to see you on the next webinar. So till then, goodbye and stay safe.